Yes, muchos thank yous and muchos hello as we give you another edition of The Pen is Maitia, Trebek. Anthony Castrovince, one of our good friends and favorite writers at MLB.com. He joins us now here. Anthony, I believe you've got a new article up on the website. It's called Black Friday Blockbuster Deals. It will come out on Friday, excuse me. So we're going to, we don't want to spoil the entire article because we want people to go to the website. But let's go with a couple here. You have a blockbuster deal involving the Cubs and the Blue Jays. Give it to us.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. This article spoils itself. This is, this is your dinner table conversation at Thanksgiving and your annual opportunity to tell me I don't know what I'm doing. I know I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not a GM. I'm just a guy.
And you know what? Baseball is a safe topic at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Let's just keep it at baseball.
One of the few. All right, so let's do something here with the Cubs and Blue Jays. Let's trade Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't know what either of these clubs are doing. To be very clear, I have no idea what either of these clubs are doing. The Blue Jays are in there for Juan Soto. I'll believe that when it actually happens. If they don't get Soto, it would stand to reason they should extend Guerrero, but he's 26 years old, just like Soto, and very close to free agency, tantalizingly close. So I think they might be better off. It hasn't really worked out with that core. Let's blow it up. Let's send Guerrero to the Cubs and Kevin Gausman. We bring back a long-term piece in Michael Busch, and we take on some Cody Bellinger. I think the Cubs would probably have to eat some of that Bellinger deal in this scenario. Yeah. And you get a top prospect in Cade Horton, one of the top pitching prospects. So, you know, again, with Guerrero, I mean, he really took off in the second half this year. We saw the guy we've long expected him to be and hadn't seen, outside of the Dunedin/Toronto season where he's runner-up for MVP. He showed that, this year. So, I don't know. Again, you get this close to free agency, it's hard to imagine he won't explore that. And
Anthony, let me ask you real
counsel.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. If this, and this is pure speculation, but if a deal like this happened, do you think that the Blue Jays would then pivot to discuss a long-term deal with Dante Bichette?
With Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette, excuse me, Bo Bichette. It would be silly for them to explore a deal with Dante Bichette at this age of his career.
Might as well. No, I don't know. I think with Bichette, like looking Bichette versus Guerrero, it's always been more likely they extend Guerrero than Bichette is what I've been told. Now, if you trade Guerrero, obviously that's not the case. And maybe then it does. Bichette's such an interesting case because obviously he had a down year, injured year. Yeah. You'd be buying low, I guess, in that regard. So it's hard to say. But I just think in general, like there's kind of, I don't know. I'm feeling disillusioned as a guy who was in the tank for the Blue Jays for a long time until the bitter end there. They haven't made it work with that group for whatever reason. They've had, they haven't advanced in October when they've gotten there. Yeah. And then last year they finished in 5th place. So I think it's time for a sea change. I really do. And I know it's hard to part with Guerrero, but you might be losing Guerrero, this time next year anyway. What I was going to say earlier, Craig Counsell made an interesting remark towards the end of the season. He said, we got to start building 90-plus win teams around here. With the Cubs, it's not just that mindset of trying to win a wild card or try to be just over 500. It's we need to build elite teams here. They have the ability to do that. They have the financial ability to do it.
Yes, they do.
If they did make a trade like this, they could absolutely be a player for Guerrero long term.
Let's talk about a deal involving a couple of Sox, the red and the white.
Yeah, I love swapping stocks. So let's do that. Now, the Red Sox are a really good candidate to land Garrett Crochet.
It's a lot.
Strong farm system. It's what they need. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Harold, because when I was looking at this again this morning, I'm like, did I overdo it here? I'm not sure. But this does protect the Red Sox absolute upper tier prospects. These are 3 of their top 10, but it protects their big dogs that they don't want to trade. But it does move Tristan Casas, and that's interesting for the White Sox because all these trades I'm proposing are, involve big leaguers going both ways. And in this case, Casas is 24 years old. He's young enough that he would make sense for the White Sox, even a rebuilding club like the White Sox. And, he was injured this past year. He's got potential 40-homer ability. So, he'd be a great trade chip should the Red Sox go down that road. And, if they want to move Rafael Devers to first base or just go short-term at first base and then maybe think about moving Devers there, down the road, whatever. The point is, they need an elite arm in that rotation. They could sign one. They could trade for one. They could sign one and trade for one. So here's an opportunity to trade for one.
My only question for the White Sox would be, did I get enough major leaguers? Are the other three guys ready? You know, and I mean, I'm not giving up Crochet, and then I'm building with minor league players. I got to have guys that are major league ready. I'm not saying a minor leaguer can't be major league ready, but they got to come play for me in the big leagues. Just a thought.
Well, Cassis is obviously ready, and I think that, you know, when you set the modern loss record, it's going to be a while. So I know, like you want the win now pieces, but they got to be thinking, I don't know, 3-4 years out at least, with the way things look there, unfortunately.
Anthony, you've got a 3-team deal for your next
I want to hear this.
Black Friday blockbuster deal. Give us the details.
All right, so if the Cardinals are going to move Nolan Arenado, and they're obviously exploring that, if the Phillies are going to move Alec Bohm, and that's something that has been widely reported that they're open to that, well, how about sending Nolan Arenado to Philly? But that doesn't really make sense to send Bohm back to St. Louis, because I think they're just trying to get younger. And, you know, Bohm's youngish. He's 28, under control for another couple years, but it doesn't seem like a perfect fit for them. So let's get the Mariners involved. Boy, do they need help at the hot corner, and Alec Bohm could provide it. So I got a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot of money involved with the Nolan Arenado deal. He's still owed $74 million through 2027. The Rockies are eating $10 million of that still. I don't know what the dollars would be in this exactly. The Cardinals would certainly have to take on some of it to move Arenado, but they're also forking over Ryan Helsley, the reigning NL reliever of the year. So, you know, that offsets some of the money proposition. The Mariners are chipping in a starter to the Phillies, and Emerson Hancock, he's blocked by that great Mariners rotation. The Mariners get Bohm. The Cardinals get prospects. They get prospects from both clubs. And again, like, the strength of their prospect return in any Arenado deal would be centered on how much money they're going to eat. But I do like the idea of Arenado to Philly, because if they are going to make a change there at third base, you know, I think that's a place where, for one, he'll just fit in with the whole, you know, 30-something vibe they have going on here in their lineup. But also, I think that's a place where he could have a resurgence in his career. You know, he's got that pull power, and that would play up in Citizens Bank Park. So I'd like to see it. Now you also have reporting that Arenado's open to moving positions, you know, going over to first base, be it part-time or full-time. You know, in that scenario, obviously the Phillies have a pretty good first baseman in Bryce Harper, so that would kind of not be a factor in this particular deal I'm proposing, but it does open the floor to more Arenado trade possibilities, other teams that could be involved. So he'll be a fascinating trade candidate for sure.
Okay.
What do you think, H?
Okay, well, my first thought is, I keep hearing all these guys talking about they want to move positions. Sorry. Willie Adames, you're going to be a shortstop. Nolan Arenado, you're a Gold Glove, Silver Glove third baseman. You're not moving to first. You know, I keep hearing people throwing this stuff out there all the time. It's like, pump the brakes on that. Now, other than that, that was my little 2 cents out of that. Seattle's got to get a little bit more, right? Giving up some stuff.
Well, I had them giving up their third prospect, and Emerson Hancock, who's, you know, he's a good depth piece. I don't know, you know, overwhelming trade value for those two pieces. I don't know. This is all views in the eye of the beholder.
I want to see your watercolors at home. It's creative stuff you got going. Actually, if you sit down and really look at it, if you sit down and really look at it and I quit talking over you, it really makes sense. It's good.
You know, once in a while I run into one, but mostly these are aimed at upsetting as many people as possible in one trade. So I'm getting 3 fan bases equally upset with me. That's the goal.
There you go. That's it.
Today, I got one last question for you before we let you go. Today seems to be Cody Bellinger's name's in everything. Why are we trying to move Cody Bellinger? Why are the Cubs trying to do that?
I don't know the Cubs' intentions. The Cubs need, like, some serious star power in the middle of that lineup. I don't know if you get that in a Cody Bellinger trade. I obviously proposed something where you're also moving a Bush, and you know it's complicated. But generally speaking, Harold, I'm with you. Like, I'm not big on selling low on players that talented. You know, a year ago, This guy was coming off a terrific season for the Cubs, and you know they made that deal for a reason. But they do have positional flexibility there, and you know they can move some things around. And again, we'll see what it looks like come March. But I'm really curious about the Cubs because I don't think they're exploring the full financial muscle they have there. And I did think Craig Counsell's comments towards the end of the season were pretty pointed.